G'day and welcome back to Semen Retention. I'm going to be talking about a bit of a different topic today. I guess with the practice of semen retention, we can kind of get a bit of an ego, a bit of a, maybe an overinflated sense of self. I think it might be potentially the testosterone building up. It might be just the insights that we gather and all this information, the downloads. It's like we open up a part of ourselves. It's like we've got like a small cup. Originally, when we're not on SR, we've got this small cup, and then suddenly that cup breaks open into a public swimming pool of knowledge and insights and all these different things that we can get. And what happens is that cup that you're originally you're used to, suddenly when it breaks open into a massive swimming pool of knowledge and insight, essentially what happens is you start to realize that everyone else around you is still in that little small cup level, and you're finding it hard to take them seriously. You're finding it hard to respect them, and you're finding it hard to just find any sort of relation to them at all. And this is at first a problem, but essentially what you realize later on as you go through this journey of spiritual awakening, semen retention, kind of leveling up in life, is that you realize that you're just kind of accessing higher dimensions of your being, and you have the ability, or you should have the ability, to be able to integrate into lower levels, to talk to other people, connect with other people. This could be really like just summarized with like the way that we speak to children. We speak, simple words to them. We are very we use our hands and our expressions to really convey something towards a child. And we don't talk about really complex things to children because they can't comprehend it unless there's some sort of genius. So, on this practice, we got to kind of hold ourselves together, and realize that sometimes, despite all this knowledge that you've got, despite all these new abilities you've got, despite all these new things that are just so exciting, and you just want to yell at the top of your lungs out to the world, all this knowledge, and, ask them, why aren't you hearing this? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you don't you know what's going on? No, basically you're not going to get the reaction you want, but you will get the reaction you need. And I think sometimes that's just going to be one person in your whole day. Like, let's say if you walk around your town, or you're at work or whatever, and let's say you but you're in the proximity and the influence of at least 1,000 people in that one day. You will get one person, maybe 2 people, maybe 10 people that will give you that kind of reaction that you need, which can just be like a sense of assurance. It can just be a sense of, okay, this is all good. At least someone kind of gets me on a spiritual level, and that's all you need. You don't need the whole herd to follow you. You don't need, you don't really need to be in a position of real, power, I guess you could say. The power resides within yourself when you're on SR. Literally, the power is in yourself. That's what we're retaining. We're retaining power. This is spiritual power. And when you're vibrating at such a high frequency and a different frequency, it is a higher frequency. I'm not going to lie. This is a higher frequency. We're elevating ourselves. When you're vibrating on these higher frequencies, people just won't relate to you. Let's say, as an example, use music. It's the easiest example for me. Let's say you're a hip hop artist and you're performing in front of a crowd of rock and metal, diehard lovers. They only listen to that music. They don't like hip hop at all. They never listen to hip hop. They reckon it's trash. Yet you're performing in front of a group of them. You just can't see, you can't relate to them. That's just the be all and end all with it. You could be a spellcaster and a spiritual guru, whereas they only go as deep as, Joe Rogan, or, I can't think what female podcasters there are. I don't listen to them. Or, you're televising your visions and insights to the world, and they're only capable of accepting what the mainstream media pushes in front of them, or what, their peers and the kind of collective deems popular. So they're not going to have differing kind of beliefs. They're not going to be thinking about these kind of controversial things that maybe people label as conspiracy theories, myths, and so on and so forth. And what this means is that, like, what you actually do with this cultivation of semen retention, and you're working on yourself, you're working on your purpose. This doesn't mean that what you do isn't genius. It doesn't mean that it isn't high quality. It doesn't mean that it's not worth others investing in. It just means that what you're doing is potentially unseen to those who are not awake. And by awake, I don't mean that they're just like completely out of touch with the whole like kind of frequencies and all that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about like these people, they haven't received these insights. They haven't received the downloads. They haven't felt the physical, the spiritual, and the mental benefits of these kind of practices. And it's not just semen retention, it's meditation, it's yoga, it's fasting, it's, diet. There's so many things to consider with this. So, when I say people who aren't awake, again, they're just on that, like they're in that small cup. They've only got a small cup of knowledge. Whereas when we had our spiritual awakening, that cup broke. We had the ego death. We broke the cup. Our body dissolved. And then suddenly we expanded into the swimming pool size. I wouldn't go as far as saying we're an ocean yet or anything like that. Let's stay humble within this practice and not try and think that we are fully expansive yet, especially given that there's so much on this planet to comprehend. And I wouldn't be saying that we're the whole planet's ocean. That's like, I'm not at that level, at least. Maybe someone else is, but they're probably not watching my videos. Keep the faith within yourself to stay on this journey. Keep raising the standards. So keeping the faith within yourself, I've got this. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep retaining. I'm going to get there. I'm going to mark off this date. I'm going to get to the next one. And then suddenly, before you know it, you're like me, and I'm like, a couple of weeks away from reaching 12 months, which is kind of amazing to think about. I just, it bewilders me to think that I spent 12 months, 1/30th of my life, cultivating my sexual energy intentionally. I've done smaller streaks than that. And obviously before I was probably about 14, 15, I was obviously cultivating the energy subconsciously. So, I kept the faith within myself. I'm raising the standards each time. This isn't just within my expectations of going on longer streaks. This is also raising the standards of my whole external being, I'm raising the standards of my living space. I'm raising the standards of my workplace. I'm raising the standards of my work ethic, my abilities. I'm gaining new abilities along the way. I'm doing other things like just expanding my knowledge, just trying to keep raising the bar. That's all I'm doing. And the benefits of that are exponential, meaning that the more knowledge you can acquire, the more opportunities and kind of success you will have in life. And not just on a materialistic way, but just but also in a spiritual way as well. Expanding your knowledge will help you have deeper insights. So keep raising the standards, and you won't follow what's expected. As I said before, people will have their, expectations because maybe the media is pushing something onto people. Maybe their school curriculum has pushed something forward onto people, and they think, okay, this is how it is, and they've never done that kind of like that soul searching and thinking about, oh, maybe it isn't that. Maybe it isn't quite so. I think one thing about a spiritually awake person is they understand contradictions and how important contradictions are. Sometimes you contradict yourself, but at least you don't contradict yourself. That's a Frank Woodley quote. But yeah, like the whole point about contradictions is to just understand that there is a polarity in life, and that's kind of the balancing act of life is not weighing yourself too far on one side of things. Like a pendulum, we should just constantly be swinging left and right. If it's only going right, then we're going to fall over and be stagnant. But if it goes left, then it's going to gain momentum, and then it just keeps swinging back and forth. So keep your energy to yourself. Don't follow what is expected. Always question things. And in regards to your energy, never spend it on something that isn't a long-term investment. And that's pretty hard to do. And, I'm not saying that we're never going to fall victims to our own kind of like habits, like maybe checking our phone. That's still spending energy. Like checking our phone, meaning like social media and all that kind of stuff. Or maybe it's like, directing your attention to some argument that's going across the road and going outside of your house to kind of like eavesdrop on someone. It's just like, that's still spending your energy, I guess. But like, I'm not talking about little things like that. I'm talking about like, chasing up some girl that maybe isn't worth a long-term kind of investment in. She wouldn't be someone that you'd want to introduce to your parents. That maybe she lacks interest in you, and essentially you're just kind of recycling these idiotic kind of behavior patterns because you're bored, when what you should be doing is you should just be realizing that maybe there's other things that require your attention, or maybe you don't need any more energy to be directed out and you should just go to bed, or you meditate, or you go for a walk, and you just cleanse yourself. You got to keep purifying your being. When you keep yourself in check and you keep the energy to yourself, these long-term investments would be things like your purpose, and a lot of people say growing your business, blah, blah, blah. I think a lot of people think growing your business is some sort of like practical thing in returns, in ways that can be measured and quantified. But growth isn't just a quantifiable parameter. Growth is also it's based on quality as well. So like, if you're feeling like, you can write a whole book, and then you're like, cool, I wrote a whole book in a year. And then the next year you write 4 books. But you got to ask yourself, are you writing 4 books because you can write 4 books? Or are you writing 4 books because you're sort of wanting to improve the quality of what you're doing, and maybe, section it off into different topics or something like that? So when it comes to kind of qualifiable, investments and, focus, that's just things that we really should be focusing on in growth. Like not just achieving 1,000 followers on Instagram or getting 50,000 subs on YouTube. Those things, they matter, but it isn't all that matters. I think there should be a big emphasis on the quality of what you want to present. And you want that to reflect in you as a person. You want to actually be a person of high quality, because if we're doing SR to potentially attract, maybe a person that we want to procreate with, maybe a life partner, someone just to stay with us for the rest of our life, you want to attract something of high quality. You don't want to think, oh, cool, yeah, I used SR and I got, 500 chicks over 5 years. It's like, that's just a waste of, it's not a waste. Anyone can do whatever they want, but like, you're not going to be achieving much outside of maybe, picking notches on your belt. So the last thing I want to talk about is, in regards to growth and spiritual investments and stuff like that, it's like we're talking about the money just before. We're talking about how like the growth can be quantifiable and it can be like money and stuff like that. But it can also be about your manifestation abilities. So I like to think of when you're following your heart and you're leading from your heart space, and your throat chakra is open as well, and you're expressing yourself with authenticity and like no barriers. You're just being you. That's a very important thing. What I find is opportunities come, and then within those opportunities lead to other opportunities, and it's just this feedback cycle where you just go down this very interesting path. Like, I'm a musician, so I hand out business cards when people ask for them. I don't hand out and just be like, hey, It's like people come to me, they're like, do you have a business card? I'm like, yes, here you go. Then I'm playing at their gig, and then someone else asks me for a business card at their gig. And then suddenly I realized how simple this is, how simple any kind of business is. I already figured this out a long time ago. It's word of mouth. I used to teach a lot of students music as well. I had up to 30 students in 2019, and then decided to kind of reduce the amount as I went along. And all of them, except for maybe one, was word of mouth. All of them were word of mouth. People are like, hey, there's this good guitar teacher, there's this good piano teacher, he lives locally here, you have his number, go text him. It's word of mouth. I didn't have to do any digital marketing. When it comes to, and I'm just going to use music as another example because it's so easy for me to talk about. Let's say I want to release an album or an EP or something like that. I don't have many followers at all on my original music kind of page. But the thing that I realized is that the people that do follow me, they really do follow me. They like really want to know when the next bit of music is going to come out. They want to keep up to date. They share and they love my music. They put it on their stories and stuff. And I'm like, that's exactly what I'm talking about, a long-term investment. If you're putting in high quality, energy into the things that you love and the purpose, you're going to attract high quality people into your life, high quality experiences into your life. So that's what SR is doing. We're very much creating high quality experiences in our life. We're trying to retain, so then, basically we're like, I don't know, guys, it's really, with this kind of energy and the ability to manifest and all these kind of experiences and all that kind of stuff, like, it becomes super amplified on this practice. Like, we're only going to get better at like all the things that we want to do. I'm going to wrap up this video because I'm struggling to speak now. So, but yeah, thanks to everyone that has subscribed. If you want anything for me to talk about, chuck it in the comments. I'm always open to giving my opinion on things. This is a very open channel. But yeah, thanks to all the new subscribers and to the OGs that, still comment and interact with me as well. Like, I see you guys, you're awesome. You've been watching Semen. I can't talk. I've been using my voice too much. I need to shut up. You've been watching Steven Retention. Catch you guys.